Alright, hello Riven mains and Yasuo mains alike. I am the Nightwing Way of Life Esports coming at you guys with another League of Legends video. So, today, G2 Esports took on SK Telecom T1 in the rematch of the MSI 2019 semifinals. And before that, G2 had faced SKT in a finals before at an MSI and lost in the finals in 2017. And then proceed to get destroyed by them in group stages in 2016 and 2017. So this was a long time coming for G2 to take down SKT twice in 1 year and in group stage at MSI. So there were so many storylines leading up to this event, obviously for this specific matchup, and with how the IG and FPX series went, which I will give my opinions on obviously after this video, is that the top three teams made it to the top three. Well, technically you have to count SKT in the top four now because obviously it's G2 and FPX in the finals. Obviously today, G2 took on SKT in a really good back and forth series. There was a lot to go over in the series, obviously. And coming into the event, people kept saying that G2 obviously won against SKT last time because they were a lot weaker. They obviously, threw out Baron, which isn't true because if you actually watch the game, they had to take that Baron, or they just lose the game. So they didn't, SKT didn't throw. They actually had to do that or you just lose the game. They were going to lose no matter what. Doing that would have given them a way back into the game. Now, looking at today specifically for each of the games, each of them were played pretty good other than the very last game, which I know a lot of people will actually say was the best one. Now, what I'm going to say is I don't really necessarily personally agree with that. What I'll say is that a lot of the SKT players underperformed to a massive extent, more so to the extent that the Splice series really showed that SKT had a lot of holes that no one really paid attention to. And the G2 versus Damwon series opened up G2's holes as well, but obviously G2 opened up SKT's butthole, just only so slightly because obviously, we saw who had the bigger butthole, which was SKT, as G2 rammed their fist inside of them as the match was ending and as they were hitting the Nexus. Now, looking at both series in terms of FPX's series and this series, and I'll go over the FPX versus IG series tomorrow, obviously, or today as I record these videos, is that G2 and SKT were playing for different ways of playing the game. G2 wanted to obviously play through bot and mid, like I had said before, because Wonder had not been performing that well. He had a really decent series today, but it still felt like Khan was the overall better top laner. He made a lot more plays. He was a lot more effective with how he actually, functioned with his team. Now today, what I really saw that was a big problem for SKT was that Faker kept trying to do things out of sync with his team. Like in game 4, when he does that Kiana ultimate and then he flubs it, or there's that one gank where he tries to flank and necessarily a more of a gank pattern, then you kind of factor in what is he doing, because either he felt the pressure he needed to do something, or there was the point where in the series SKT felt the need to sub in Mata. So there was quite a bit of issues going on with SKT today. Obviously it could have been just a bad day, but then you factor in, they showed this stuff during the Splice series. The reason why it didn't get punished was because Splice is obviously not as good as G2. That's why all these issues, obviously didn't really come out as much as a lot of people, obviously were talking about. But G2 made mistakes as well. In game 2, they were going for an Elder Dragon. At around 35 minutes, they got it stolen by Clid, and then they obviously had some problems around the objectives, as if they understood they needed to do something, but they didn't feel like they had the numbers advantage to overall take advantage of the situation. They didn't really capitalize it on the opportunity as I would have liked. There was a moment in game 2 where they could have probably contested for a Baron steal, but Yankos and Mickey just kind of ulted away, and then they ended up dying anyway. But those are things like that where certain teams punish things differently with the composition that they have. G2 did fall behind in some games, but it was never such an insurmountable lead to the point where the game was overall lost. Now, this series should have went to game 5 like it did back at MSI, but the mistakes in the late game by the SKT carries, such as Klid getting too far close with his Elise, getting pretty much caught out by Caps's Syndra. And you guys know it's G2. They're going to play something different in a game 5. Obviously, Perkz played the Samurai, as G2 is a Samurai, and he played Yasuo. He had a pretty good performance on that. The bot lane with SKT's bot lane was more or less so the consistent point of the series. As you look at over each game, the bot lane was a decent consistent point, and I'm talking about Teddy. Teddy was the consistent point. Effort, I don't know if he was paid off today to play like that, because he played really bad. He played substantially pretty bad. And it wasn't like he was making mistakes. He was just playing bad overall. Now, that's not to say the other SKT members were playing that bad. I'm just saying he outstandingly played bad comparatively than everyone else. Now, looking at ahead in this series, G2 is going off to face FPX, and I'll go over the FPX and IG series obviously in another video, which is going to be literally after this one. I want to talk about this one first, because that means I got it right in my pick'ems. G2 is going to the finals. Oh my goodness. I want to go to that video right now, because that video tells me something right now, because that goes to show you how much people hate you for a team you support, that you've been supporting since 2016, since they came into the EULCS. Also, I got the same thing with Cloud9 all the time, guys. If Cloud9 do well, it's because everybody else underperformed. It's not because they perform well, it's because everybody else has to underperform for them to do well. I gotta look at that video, because that video is hilarious to look at. Let's see. My knockout stage pick'ems. It was this video, right? Yeah, it was this one. It's this video. G2 as the well, to be fair, I got a little bit of this wrong. I got every single one of this right. It just Fnatic failed me, and then FPX was like, yeah, we'll take over where IG left off. So right here is where I got it wrong, because this side of the bracket was real weird. I got the IG part right, but then everything else after that looks like a dumpster fire after that. So this part I got completely correct, obviously, and then G2 were in the finals. 6 dislikes. 6 dislikes. Oh my god. Oh my god. Oh, where's all those 6 SKT fans? Where's all those 6 Fnatic fans? Where's all those 6 Griffin fans? Oh, you guys are so quiet now. Yeah. Oh my god, but it feels so good to discredit someone for their opinion, right? Yeah, it feels real good when you do that. Also feels real bad when you lost, right? Oh yeah, it feels good. I get the same thing with Cloud9. I love my Cloud9 boys. Hashtag wear the 9. Look at that thumbnail face. Look at that thumbnail face. Oh my god. But yes, this is supposed to show, I'm not bragging or anything about being right. What I'm saying is, don't overly discredit somebody just because they're a fan of a team. I obviously said they could lose in the series. I said against SKT. If they lost against SKT, it's not that bad. They're still the best Western team of all time. That's something that they can take with, their entire careers, that they were the best Western team of all time if they went to other different rosters in the future. And now, unhold-hearted, doubtedly, no ifs, ands, or buts at all. This is the best Western team of all time. There is no debating this at all. At all. Do you want to know? I can list off their accolades and feats. It's not just about accolades, it's also about feats as well. Because the reason why I'm mentioning accolades is because if you have no accolades, obviously measuring how great you were is pretty hard. But let's go over these things. Both domestic titles, MSI title, they took down all 3 top Korean seeds and SKT 2 times in best of 5s, and they beat them in the group stage at MSI both times. That's consecutively. At Worlds 2019, obviously, they beat Griffin and they beat Damwon. These are the top 3 Korean seeds Korea sent this year. The young talent, right? The young talent that was supposed to do really, really well. And they did, to a certain extent. And then also today, they just beat SKT. So that means that they took down every single top Korean seed. They won both domestic titles and got an international title in which EU had not won since 2011, if you even count Season 1 Worlds, which you probably shouldn't because no one really counts Season 1 Worlds. I'll still never count Season 1 Worlds. Do you know why I don't count Season 1 Worlds? Who remembers that? Nobody. You want to know why? Because it wasn't good. Also, does anybody remember the first NBA championship? That you see my point here? You see how I can really spear that into a, kind of like, it's so easy to debunk why Season 1 Worlds doesn't matter. But it matters in terms of, history. So I'll give it that. But without a doubt, this is the best Western team of all time. And if they win Worlds, that only just solidifies it. But SKT, moving on to today, you really, really, really saw the players really take it hard. Obviously, you saw Faker's face. He didn't cry this time, but it was just Faker obviously shaking after he made that misplay. He talked about wanting to, play like his original self, his GOAT. He's still the GOAT. He's still the best of all time. I don't know why people call him overrated. Meanwhile, they're like fanboying over Bjergsen. Does that even make sense? He's not overrated. Not even close. But the issue is, I don't think he can play that exact same way he used to play back in the day because the game is more about team play. But, there's so much to go over. Actually, and it's just really hard to really say what was the right play. We don't know their comms. We'll obviously get a chance to see that when their comms get released, obviously, and we'll get to see a better overview of what happened. But ultimately, G2 have shown that they must be in the discussion for one of the best teams of all time. Their creativity, skill, and team synergy is better than almost every team in the world today, and they are headed to the finals because of it. Jankos was brilliant this series. Oh, that's debatable. He was able to help his side lanes out whenever they were behind, and his ability to find picks were a key for G2 success. On the other hand, this was the first time SKT attended Worlds but failed to make the finals. Their revenge tour has been stopped in its tracks, and although they are still an incredibly strong team, there's no doubt that this roster will be thinking about this loss for months to come. Each game was well within their grasp, but they were simply outgunned by what it looks like to be one of the best teams in the world. Oh, Faker, my boy Faker. You'll get back there. Also, fun fact to put on this best Western team of all time. This was the first Western team so far, and well, because this is the first time it happened to SKT. SKT, every time they attended Worlds, has made the finals. This was the first team to stop them from doing that. Just another point where I can just say best Western team of all time. So, yes. So, G2 take down SKT. Got my predictions right about G2 going to the finals. Now, I got it. I got them facing the wrong LPL team because IG just like choking. But it's okay. It's okay. They still facing an LPL team in there. I got pretty much all that correct. Now, step 1 was have them beat Damwon. Alright. Step 2 was have them beat SKT. Step 3 is win Worlds. Who's with me? Who's going to be part of the G2 Grand Slam? Obviously. But yes, I'll be talking about the FPX and IG series in my next video. Let me know what you guys think about the G2 versus SKT series. Obviously, this is a pretty heated series to talk about right now. Obviously, I just can't wait for every single excuse in the book about how SKT should have won, how they could have did this, that, 80,000 things, right? Other than just saying, hey, you lost. That's the nature of competition. But like I said before, G2 did not play flawlessly, as a lot of people would like you to believe. I'm not a biased fan. I understand flaws. They did not play perfectly. They drafted really well. They honestly drafted really great. They had a lot of good things going about them. The problem I would say with them is they need to learn how to, I don't know, it's really hard to say. Knowing when to back off is good, but knowing when you have an advantage is a good thing, which they obviously know. But there were certain moments where if SKT were a little bit more coordinated, this series goes to a Game 5. That's all I'm saying. But I'll see you guys later. Like, comment, subscribe. Most of all, enjoy. I'm the Nightwing, and Way of Life Esports is signing out. Who's going to be with me on the G2 #G2 Grand Slam?
Hi there, guys. Be sure to like and subscribe to the channel for more stuff.
Yeah, thank you.